Sunday or something like that. And so you're like, okay. But I think I was saying this on my last episode. I think in a way, the more revealing thing is that first of all, we likely assume Israel's just going to continue doing what they're doing. But even forget that, we know for a fact that even if they did, nothing would change. Even if Donald Trump says, you must stop doing this now, nothing will change if they continue to do it. And that, to me, is so obviously indefensible. That, like, you have a country who is propping up another country, and that this country's commander-in-chief has zero influence over telling them to stop what they're doing. They don't even feel... You know, there was... I'm blanking on who it was, but it was someone high up in the government who said... They said, well, we have no ceasefire in place. Essentially meaning, we could keep doing this. We have not made a deal yet. And it's like, yeah, but the president of the United States told you to stop, and you're dependent on him, so stop. So that's an outrage. Back into the show. More broadly speaking, so I find this to be kind of interesting. Stop, and you're dependent on him, so stop. So that's an outrage. Back into the show. More broadly speaking, so I find this to be kind of interesting. So me and you are actually opposite in terms of, I think you voted for Trump in 16 and 20, yes. Not in 24. I didn't in 16 and 20, but did in 24. Although I think we have a lot of the same critiques of him. We kind of saw that different. But how do you, I think at this point, I think you've been very, what's the word I'm looking for? I think you've been very hampered about your criticism of Donald Trump. It seems to me like that's the appropriate thing to do now. I mean, I think there were like a few things where, you know, I felt like when Donald Trump first got in, or right after the election was won, I tried to lead this like no Pompeo thing of like being like no Pompeo, because that was like he had spoken at the last Trump rally, and so I was talking to like Tucker and like all these other guys. I was like, dude, we should all go all in on this. Like Pompeo and Haley and all these awful people came out, and then he signed that letter saying Pompeo and Haley won't be in it, and then I was like, okay, not enough. All the neocons got to be kept out now, you know? And then Donald Trump Jr. like quote tweeted me and was like, 100%, I'm on it, blah, blah, blah. And there was a moment there where I was like, fucking maybe, you know, like I actually maybe want to believe. I mean, and part of it, and I know, I mean, I'm a libertarian. So like, I know that I've been through this, but I know all the talking points and how nothing ever changes. There's no government solutions and blah, blah, all this. But I was like, you know what? They did try to arrest this guy. They did try to do more than arrest this guy. Maybe, again, I'm not trying to jump to a web, but there were some things about that really just don't add up. I'm still very, skeptical of the official story on that. But it's like, maybe there's actually something. But, after continuing to back Israel, the Epstein thing was a big one. The Iran thing was like a death blow. It was like, and at this point, it's not like there's another election coming up. We already kind of know what the Trump thing is. We've gotten some small wins. The border control is a big win. I shouldn't say that. That's not a small thing. He really did turn that around. He deserves credit for that. But everything else, Nick, everything else has just been a disaster. And so, I don't know. I think we're in a similar place where it's like, no, fuck this. Yeah. I mean, you just can't tell me that it's like we have to just blindly support this while our country's still falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no argument anymore. In 2024.
I'm sorry, one of you guys just grab me a water? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. In 2024, there was at least this argument to be made that maybe it would be different this time. And like you said, you articulated the reasons why. They tried to kill him, they impeached him, they charged him. So the question was, is it going to be different this time? Did he learn? Is there going to be better people? And I get that. So I didn't begrudge people that did vote for him, but there were signs. Nikki Haley endorsed him, and he said we were going to go to war with Iran, basically. He said they were going to bring in the H-1Bs and all this stuff. And, and then they appointed the cabinet within 3 weeks. Rubio for Secretary of State. And I guess the interesting thing I have to say beyond what is obvious, which is that it's kind of crashing and burning, is I look at a guy like Kurt Mills, Kurt Mills at AmCon, and, he seems like he's a good guy. Like, he's 100% on board, maybe more with you than me, but, he knows relevant facts. And I remember watching him during the negotiation between Trump and, or I should say Witkoff and Araghchi or whoever it was on the Iranian side. And he would go on Steve Bannon every week and say, any day now. Like, they're going to make a deal, and, Netanyahu's going to be put in his place. And I'm thinking, have you ever seen anything in history? It never goes that way. Yeah. And it never goes that way because, like you said before, it's sort of axiomatic. Trump is not willing to shut them down. He's just not willing to resist them or go there. He doesn't care enough, or whatever the reason is. It's hard to know what's in his heart or in his mind. He won't do it. And then, I think it was like 3 days before we went to war, he goes, it's not on radar that Trump is going to attack Iran. That's not on radar. It's like, buddy, read the tea leaves. Like, of course he's going to go and bomb Iran. So, and I kind of get where you're coming from about the Pompeo. I was even skeptical about the Pompeo thing, because I said they are willing to shut them down. He's just not willing to resist them or go there. He doesn't care enough, or whatever the reason is. It's hard to know what's in his heart or in his mind. He won't do it. And then, I think it was like 3 days before we went to war, he goes, it's not on radar that Trump is going to attack Iran. That's not on radar. It's like, buddy, read the tea leaves. Like, of course he's going to go and bomb Iran. So, and I kind of get where you're coming from about the Pompeo. I was even skeptical about the Pompeo thing, because I said they got a list of these people they're going to put in. And that's why I'm a big believer in, like, this. It's not even, people say, are you going to vote for a Democrat? We got to think beyond that. To me, it's just about rejection. They set the table, and you can't really choose what's on the table, but you could choose whether to eat or not, whether you're going to play the game. And so my bigger idea is just reject. Like, and I like what you said. It encapsulates it. It's bullshit. No, thank you. You're promising stuff you're not going to deliver. When you put this stuff out there, the big beautiful bill, $150 billion for border enforcement, they're not deporting even 1,000 people a day. Like, it's nothing. And so I just look at these guys like Dan Caldwell crying on Tucker, at Kurt Mills,